there's this video that I seen. I think it's from Frontline. I forget exactly where it's from, about AI, artificial intelligence, being used to augment the world. And the one example they give is this kid from MIT or someplace that created robots all of his life and was able to make a use deep learning to make a golf cart um, drive itself around a figure eight or around a racetrack in a go kart place, and they then had him do the same thing for a 18 wheeler, and the kid looks Indian, but he's got these eyes, which you would assume are blue eyed. I mean, they're gray. They didn't. The interview was taken um, possibly indoors without any access to windows because the daylight. It's when you're out in the daylight that your eyes are blue, but they're naturally gray. They don't look blue indoors. It's the the color of the sky that produces the blue in the eyes of the people. And this guy, either his eyes are blue or he's wearing gray contacts. But he talks so happily about the idea that AI might be able to replace 18 wheeler drivers, people who, truck drivers, and eliminate a lot of the unneeded deaths in the world. I'm not arguing this to to protect the jobs of the people that work as truck drivers, but I want to point out that there is no way an artificial intelligence deep learning is going to be able to make up for for its lack of understanding. I mean, you could use it to drive along a path, but you're going to have to add stuff. You're going to have to add things that support um, such systems in order for the roads to be recognizable and easy to manage for a AI controlled truck. And the reason for that is that there is complexity in 3D space whenever things change and adjust that your own brain can deal with, but AI is doesn't carry with it wisdom. It doesn't carry with it understanding or reasoning ability that humans have. And so it won't be able to determine if what it's looking at is a person or if it's a mannequin or if it's just something that looks like the shape of a person that's on the road. And, say even if you put a picture of some people on a wall, how would you know if there were people there or not? You could put pictures of things like that on the road. How would the robot driver know how to distinguish between real shapes of people and shapes of people and real people? Okay, and the other thing is that it's I've got a brother who is in this field, and he says that they've done they've had problems in the past when trying to do computer vision, do recognition of the backgrounds. Um, that whenever they were focusing cameras um, on wolves, trying to recognize the wolves in an image, what it was really doing was it was learning to how to recognize the background, and it wasn't really learning to recognize the wolves in the image. It was learning to recognize that there was a change in the background, and when they used such AI in projects, they would give them back favorable results until they did something where they would change the background of the image, and then the AI would fail to work. And that was because what they thought the AI was learning wasn't the subject matter, but it was the background, it was the backdrop that it was more concerned about. It wasn't concerned about what was in the foreground. And you're going to have the same sort of problems with any kind of AI that you put too much faith in trying to drive an 18-wheeler. And it's going to make some serious mistakes because it does not have reasoning capacity of a person the age of which it is trying to replace. And so when you put a lot of faith in something that hasn't gone through the process of reasoning out what it sees, you're asking for trouble. You're so greedy for the money and for the capacity to be number one in the field in making that work. You're not trying to convince yourself, as how these deep learning systems work, you're not trying to convince yourself that you're wrong. You are so open to the idea that you're right that you're not trying to find out, not trying to let yourself know that you're wrong, or not looking for, you have to practically be against yourself in order to develop good technology. Because if you don't, then you're not going to test all the cases. You're going to end up with an error, and it's going to come down somewhere down the road, and one of those trucks is going to kill some people, and you're going to be held responsible because you gave people the false hope that technology was going to protect people's lives. So and this guy's young, this is a young kid, he doesn't know what he's getting himself into. He may understand how to work with robots and make them see stuff, but whenever he goes on a frontline documentary and they start talking to him and he starts getting all really, confident and saying, yes, we'll be able to have 18-wheeler driver AI, and we'll have a truck driving AI system that will prevent all the casualties that come with truck drivers. And he's a kid, and what can a kid know about many different truck drivers who are stressed to get lots of things delivered on time? The best that you can do is just augment their abilities, or to be able to detect when they're falling asleep. And when you detect that if they're falling asleep, you slow down the truck, right? Or you pull off to the side of the road, right? That's the way you solve those problems. You don't go in there and say, my AI is going to be able to do the job of that truck driver. That's complete bullshit. And you know it. And when you say that on camera, you are signing you're signing away your life You're risking fooling. You're basically lying to people because you don't know. You should say that I'm hopeful that it will do this, not that it will do this. To say I'm hopeful that we can figure out how to eliminate casualties using this technology, and and think of other cases where it would be easier and advantageous to use the technology, such as being able to recognize when a truck driver is about to fall asleep. That would be more advantageous than trying to replace the truck driver with AI that's supposed to that would have to have the reasoning ability at the age level of that truck driver. There's a reason why we got truck drivers in these cabs. They're not doing something that's simple. They're doing something that's very hard. They're trying to make sense of what it is they see as they're driving all the time. And all it takes is one stupid ass Indian kid with gray gray contacts, um, fake gray iris contacts, and I got the feeling that it was this way because it looked like they were fake, given the light levels that were there. His irises would be a little bit more um, um, they would be more restricted. I mean, they'd be smaller rather than being as large as they were. And so that it was my feeling that his I that these were it was it was contact lenses with with the coloring in them. That his eyes weren't really blue. If they really wanted to present his eyes as being blue, and he's Indian, which you don't often see Indians that have blue eyes, they should have filmed that closer to the window so that you could see he had blue eyes, but they're gray. It that was making me feel that he didn't really have blue eyes, that he had contacts on. And when somebody is got some vanity in that respect, and then they say that we're going to be able to change the future, this is somebody that's presenting a facade and is making people overly hopeful and making them think that the future is already here. Whenever I know, according to my brother, that the Google car is nowhere near to driving itself. That this kid cannot say the same thing. Even if he's from MIT, even if he has some, he does not have the wisdom of years to even drive a truck himself. How can he go on to say that we're going to be able to eliminate um, all the truck driving fatalities? Is he even thinking about the capacity to that sabotage the AI system? Say the truck drivers lose their jobs, they're going to figure out some way. They're going to figure out something about the AI that's a serious problem, and they're going to use it, and they're going to sabotage the system and make the truck driver run over people, and that'll be the end of that. And the credibility of that kid gone. He's not going to be working in the AI field much longer because he said on camera something that was completely untrue.